We are joined now. We've been talking about the awful results of Hurricane Helene in Tennessee, North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina, parts of Virginia. We're joined now by Senator Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee. She has toured East Tennessee and seen some of the damage, and that's where we want to start with you, Senator. Appreciate the time. What did you see? How bad is it? And is the federal government doing, in your mind, everything that it should be to help people?
Yes, I tell you, my heart breaks for all of these families. And, Clay, I have never seen devastation like this. And the governor and I were out on Saturday surveilling this damage. And when those floodwaters have come through, it's raging water. It has completely just washed away firehouses and schools, and we have the hospital that was flooded. We have houses that are gone. We have companies that are gone. And when I say gone, I mean everything is gone. Fire trucks have gone down the river, and it is a raging water. And I was just talking with one of the state senators, and they were talking about still trying to find people. There are a lot of people that have not been located. I was working with a company owner this morning. They're still missing 5 people. They know there are 2 that are deceased. I was talking with someone in banking. They can't open the bank. They don't have electricity to be able to open it. Your service stations, filling stations, you can't go to the gas pump unless you're paying cash. This is what people are dealing with in the aftermath of this disaster. And Governor Lee got the disaster declaration request into the White House Friday afternoon, and I worked with him. My team worked. We got Senator Haggerty and the rest of the congressional delegation, and simultaneously our letter of support for the request went to the White House, and by 9:30 that night, everything was done, and we had FEMA positioning and moving in to help people there in Upper East Tennessee. And if any of your listeners know of someone who's needing help, we have put a resource page on our website at blackburn.senate.gov/Helene. And all of the information, contacting FEMA, the request for help, everything is there.
What are the most urgent needs right now that FEMA is going to be trying to address, along with all the state resources, Senator Blackburn, that you laid out? I assume, is it road closure and getting just food and water to people? I mean, what does the roadmap of what efficient, relatively speaking, efficient assistance to people that are in a desperate situation here, what does it look like?
Yes, and part of what it looks like is this rescue effort and trying to find people. And TBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, set up a 1-800 number. We got that done Saturday night, and it is 1-800-TBI-FIND, F-I-N-D, TBI-FIND. And people can place the name if they're looking for someone that is still missing. And then, as you said, food and water. That is a very urgent need that people have. And getting that food and water into places. There are some places that are isolated, and the food and water is having to go in by helicopter. You have other areas where up in Cock and Unicoi County, Carter County, your restaurants can't open because they don't have water, they don't have power, and some of the water plants are shut down. So having that water is just vital. And I talked with someone this morning, and they were facilitating a big shipment of water and food that is going to go up into Cock County this afternoon.
We're talking to Senator Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee. She's been in East Tennessee, one of the many areas impacted dramatically by Hurricane Helene. Senator Blackburn, politics typically shouldn't apply in a situation like this. People are hurting. They need help, whether they're Democrats, Republicans, Independents. Donald Trump is on the ground in Georgia. He brought supplies. He says he wants to go to North Carolina. So far, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have to a large extent been absent. How do you think they are performing as the commander in chief and the vice president so far? Would you like to see more from them?
When something like this happens, you're always wanting more help. The White House did reach out to me this morning to make certain that FEMA was there. FEMA came immediately as soon as that disaster relief was signed. And I will say this. This morning I spoke to our emergency management dispatchers and your 911 operators. Our first responders have been phenomenal. When this happened so quickly on Friday afternoon, it was so fast. And it's like with the hospital, everything, the water rose so quickly. They could not get people out of the hospital, so they had to go to the roof, and then the water was so swift they could not bring in boats, so they had to bring in the helicopters to get them out. So everything happened so quickly. Those first responders were the ones that jumped in immediately, and then they were followed in very short order by TEMA and then by FEMA. And the National Guard in Tennessee, General Ross and the National Guard have done an unbelievable job. And I do have to give a shout out to Governor Youngkin. He was able to send some helicopters in to help get people off the roof of the hospital. And that was very much appreciated.
Speaking to Senator Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee, Senator Blackburn, we spent a lot of today on the show on the relief efforts after the disaster of Hurricane Helene. There is still not just an election underway, but we're coming down here to the very final stretch. And I believe were you with President Trump recently in Michigan on the campaign trail? I think you've done some travel with him. Go ahead.
Yes, I was. Friday, I was with him in Michigan, and he did a rally with the a town hall with the auto workers. And it was such a great afternoon, being able to visit with those auto workers, hearing their questions, hearing the president answer their questions. It was exciting. It was about 5,000 people, and they were pumped up and ready to go. And I can guarantee you they are going to be getting their friends out to early vote. And what was so interesting, I had at one point, I asked people in the audience, I said, raise your hand if you're an auto worker. And it was hundreds and hundreds of hands that went up. And there were a lot of UAW members that were in that audience, and they are voting for Donald Trump.
You and I, Senator Blackburn, are going to be doing an event next week in Jackson, Tennessee. I've told you I'm certainly voting for you. I'm voting on October 16th, which I believe is the first day that you can vote early in the state of Tennessee. You just mentioned the number of auto workers that you worked with. We're going to hammer this every day all the way through the election, but I want people to hear it from you. Why is it so important to vote early?
It is important to vote early because you never know what is going to happen on Election Day. Think about what happened in Nevada in 2022. People waited to vote on Election Day, and then they had a blizzard in the north. They had floods in the south, and a U.S. Senate seat was lost by fewer than 4 votes per precinct. And this is why it is vitally important for people to make a plan and vote early and get out there. October 16th is when that vote opens in Tennessee, as you said, and I'm going to be right there with you. I'm going to be voting early, and I'm encouraging everyone, not only for themselves, but for their friends. Go vote early.
No doubt. Senator Marsha Blackburn, one more time for people out there. I believe you said if they need help, your website is. Tell them that website address again, as people are dealing with East Tennessee in particular with awfulness with the Hurricane Helene.
Yes, it is blackburn.senate.gov/Helene.
Thank you so much, Senator. We appreciate it. Let us know how we can help going forward.
Will do. Thank you.
Senator Marsha Blackburn, she is on the ballot in Tennessee, part of what we believe will be a Republican majority, but people need to get out and vote early, like I'm going to do, like she's going to do. Buck, you and I were together down in South Florida with pepper launchers, which was really, really fun. Saber. And you know what? Saber doesn't just have these these safety pepper launchers that are non-lethal. They've got everything imaginable. We did a video, I'm going to put it up shortly, of all the different types of pepper spray they have, all the home alarms. Saber is a family-owned business that will make your family safer. If you got a daughter, maybe she's going off to college and you want to get some pepper spray that she can put on her keychain. If you got a wife, you got kids, maybe you want it for yourself. But I was mentioning this, so many of you, like I do, I've got 2 teenagers. And if you have teenagers in your house, you know they are constantly coming in and out of the house at all hours. Maybe they got friends over. Maybe they got boyfriends or girlfriends sneaking in the house. Maybe you got guns, and I know a lot of you do, but you don't necessarily want to use a lethal option because you're afraid maybe that person sneaking in the house or sneaking out the window. Maybe it's your kid. Maybe it's your teenager. Maybe it's your grandkids. Pepper, I'm telling you, this Saber launcher, you will absolutely love it. Buck and I tried these out. Feels like a handgun, but is non-lethal. But boy, you get it anywhere near someone, they are turning tail and they are getting out of there in a hurry. We'll get all in their eyes. We'll get them stopped instantaneously. 7 different rounds, more than any competitor. 7 rounds. You pop these things off and you get it close to somebody, you're going to guarantee that you're safe. It's extra peace of mind, non-lethal, but able to protect you. Check it out, saberradio.com. Again, protect your family. They've got all sorts of pepper sprays, but you need to check out and make sure that you don't miss the Saber Pepper Projectile Launcher. Again, it feels just like a handgun, but it's non-lethal. 7 different rounds chambered, 40 more shots than other brands out there for superior non-lethal home defense. You can pair this with a gun because I know a lot of you have guns. It's the non-lethal protection, saberradio.com. You can also check out videos of Buck and me both shooting this thing, saberradio.com. You can also call 844-824-SAFE. That's SABRE radio.com, saberradio.com.